Hey, what's going on? Back from part two, libertarianism. Part two, we're talking about the geo-libertarianism versus libertarian conservatism. I wrote this shit down and we're gonna read it off to you. And tonight we're gonna come with it, and I'm gonna come with the stream. So we're gonna hook this up a little bit. I'm gonna put this up. We're gonna select it. It's 810. Okay, libertarianism. Yes, we're gonna put this on the playlist. Yeah, we're gonna keep at it. What we're gonna see here is I gotta look at my channel settings just for a minute. Y'all just bear with me, because I'm gotta speed up the process. But normally I do these. It's like the final exercise of the ideologies. We'll talk about the systems next week. I won't have to schedule something and then just put it in a whole one stream instead of just doing it in two parts. The reason I do these in two parts because I want to correct somebody like the younger people that coming in these spaces saying stuff and spouting on stuff that doesn't really make sense. You know what I mean? And we'll look at these together, and I'm gonna find the oh, this is even better. Yeah, I'm gonna put it on videos. I'm gonna leave my channel right here because since we're gonna go with the research and we're gonna make a response to it, and we're gonna keep it simple and layered. And we're gonna talk about geo-libertarianism in a minute. We're gonna make that the focus. So, in so many words, we talked about it last week. We talk about the in-depth of the difference between the two. And we're going to read it again. And this is what we're going to focus on. And then we're going to focus on the ideals and what I said in that stream. And we're just going to expound on it more. Okay. Left libertarianism or geo-libertarianism, what they call it, that's what we call it. And I put down left libertarianism, egalitarian private ownership, agorism, voluntary exchanges, state is redundant to anarchism. But we're going to read it right here. It combines a strong commitment to personal liberty with egalitarian view concerning natural resources, believing that is not legitimate for some to claim private ownership of resources to the detriment of others, that each individual is entitled to an equal share of natural resources. Many left libertarians advocate strong alliances with the left on issues such as anti-war movement and labor unions. Some wish to revive voluntary cooperative ideas such as mutualism. Agorism is an extreme form of anarcho-capitalism and libertarianism developed by Samuel Edward Connigan III, 1947 to 2004. The building on the ideas of Murray Rothbard, 1926-1995, which takes as its ultimate goal society in which all relations between people are voluntary exchanges, a completely free market is an underground or counter economy in which state is redundant anarchism. Agorists consider themselves left libertarians, although there is contention over that. That's left libertarianism. And then we also talk about right libertarianism, known as libertarian conservatism. Right libertarianism is a synopsis of libertarianism and right-wing conservatism. Stresses limited government and strong capitalism. It differs from some Christian influence conservatism in that it generally favors the separation of church and state. It's sometimes split into four main branches. And they said the four branches, and like it says, classical or traditional libertarianism, with main goals strengthening the power in government and the promotion of free market, and generally believes in social liberalism, anti-militarism, and promote economic conservative goals. Neo-libertarianism, which is in opposition of the classic libertarianism, supports the interventionist foreign policy and militarism to expand democracy. Paleo-libertarianism are culturally conservative and ardently Christian view, with classical libertarianism usually involving views against abortion and for the complete privatization of education. Small government conservatism, a social conservative outlook which generally consider any necessary government enforcement the responsibility of state governments and not the federal government. That's like their four branches of what they're talking about. So we're going to stick it right here and Yeah, as I said, but we're gonna get into geo-libertarianism, and we're gonna read off to you. Um, this is gonna be the one things we're gonna talk about, and we're gonna talk about geo-libertarianism. I'm reading from another thing right here, so I'm gonna give you the link in a minute. Geo-libertarianism is a political economic ideology, integrates libertarianism with Georgianism. Georgianism. Okay. Geolibertarians maintain that geographical spaces, raw natural resources, any assets and quality as land economic definition are rivalrous goods to be considered commonly, properly, or more accurately, unowned, which is all individuals share an equal human right to access, not capital wealth to be privatized fully and absolutely. Therefore, landholders ought to pay a compensation according to the rental value set by the free market, absent in any improvements to the economy for the civil right use for it. Yeah, usurpic, that is legally recognized exclusive possessions with restrictions on property abuse, or otherwise the sample type with no restrictions. Idly, the taxing of a site would be administered only if it has been determined that privately captured economic rent from the land exceeds the title holders equal and shared to total land value in jurisdiction, and on the proposal of rent and the collected not to be of many occupancy or use of land as rather in commonly, nor the state rightfully owns the common, but rather as an objectively assessed immunity due to for the legal right to exclude others from that. And some geo-libertarians also support Pigovian taxes. Yeah, is it Pigovian taxes on pollution, severance taxes to regulate natural resources, depletion, compensatory fees with the ancillary positive environmental effects on the activities which negatively impacts and values they take place, standard right libertarian positions to each individual natural entitled to the fruits of their labor as an exclusive property as opposed to the produced goods being owned collectively by society or by the government acting representing society, that in the person labor wages and products labor should not be taxed alone, not Georgius and the libertarian movement. And they also advocate the law, equality, liberty, and supporting full civil liberties and with no crime unless there are victims who have been invaded. Yeah, that's part of it. I'm just giving you a small summary of what's going on. And let me put the share on my little community tab. And this is what we're gonna do here. I know people want to know when I'm gonna go live. I'll put it on Discord. And yeah. And that's just about it. And to expound on, yeah, it's just like what we're saying, what we're talking about. And it's just like the property rights. That's an overview of geo-libertarianism, property rights, and policy proposals. And then it goes into it. And we're going to look at some more on here. And that's what we're talking about. What is, okay, damn, it's a YouTube video. I can't play that because I don't want to get striked. Let's look at the foundations. And if you want to know the wiki of that, let's see. What's the wiki we just read? Oh, shit. Oh shit. I forgot to give y'all the link. God damn. I don't like Chrome like that, but that's okay. That's okay. We're gonna expound on shit. So we're gonna get in here for a minute. So let's take your time. And I know people is busy, but I'm gonna get this out the way. Yeah, I'm not gonna stop this. I'm not gonna stop this. I'm gonna do the stream. Okay. Okay. This happens all the time. Yeah, we're gonna come back to it and we're gonna go back with something. Hold on. Just give me a second. Get this thing right. Let's see. Yeah. We're gonna go into it. Now we're gonna talk about this, right? No one should not be resourceful at. Okay, context and scripture. Okay, description. It's also geo-anarchism or geo-libertarianism. Also, they said geo-anarchism is a libertarian political philosophy that holds, like other forms of libertarian individualism, that each individual has an exclusive right to the fruits of his or her labor, as opposed to his product being owned collectively by society or the community. In other words, geo-libertarians support private property. However, unlike royalist forms of libertarianism, geo-libertarianism holds that all land is owned in common by society. Therefore, if individuals claim the land as their property, they must pay rent to the community for doing so. Geo-libertarians generally advocate disturbing the land rent to the community via a land value tax, as proposed by Henry George and others before him. For this reason, they are often called single taxers. Free Ed Favre coined the word geo-libertarianism in an article so titled "Land and Liberty," May June 1981, pp. page 53 to 55. In the case of the geo-anarchism as described by Favre, rent would be collected by private associations with the opportunity to succeed from geo community and not receive the geo community service if desired. But geo libertarians are generally influenced by Gregorism or Georism. Yeah, Georism, but the ideas behind this predate the Georgerism, but the ideas behind predate Henry George and can be found in the forms of the writings of John Locke, the French psychocrats, Thomas Jefferson, Adam Smith, Thomas Paine, James Mill, and then there's John Stuart Mill's father, and David Ricardo. We just talked about this in part one. John Stuart Mill, the utilitarian philosophers, and Herbert Spencer, and perhaps the best summary of geo-libertarianism is Thomas Paine's association that the men do not make the earth. It's the value of an improvement of only, not the earth itself. That is individual property. The perpetrator owes to the community a ground rent into the land which he holds. On the other hand, Locke wrote, this private land ownership should be praised as long as the product was not left to spoil and there was enough and as good left in common for others. When this Lockean proviso is violated, the land earns rent value. What is geo-libertarianism? That's number two. We geo-libertarians distinguish ourselves from right-wing royal libertarians by our profound respect for the principles that one's has private property in its fruits, one's labor, that includes the fruits and the mental labor and the results of reinvestment and legitimate private property capital in the future production. We remain consistent in the respect by recognizing, as did their classic liberals, that the land and raw natural resources are not the fruits of the labor, but the common heritage to be assessed on terms that are equal under the law for everyone. The status system of a land tenure improves non-producing landlords through extract the fruits of the tenets of labor. We also consider ourselves green in our respect for the earth and as our common heritage. However, we are clearly distinguished between land as common property, land as a state property, unlike the left wing or watermelon greens. We advocate the governance of the land in harmony with the free market principles and the deny right status bureaucracies to the middle in the affairs of individual landholders. We see ourselves as embracing the best attributes of the Green and Libertarian parties. Geo-libertarians also believe in the free trade with no state support for monopoly privileges of any kind. We therefore oppose money monopolies, information monopolies as a host of lesser monopolies, and most of all monopoly of all power to the government as embodied by the statist political systems. We are not nihilistic anarchists. We believe that monopoly privileges can be gently, methodically displaced without disrupting to society, even when the statists resort to violence to prevent it. Yeah. That's part of one thing, and I can give you, that's a piece of it. I can find another for you. So what we're going to have is, we talked about it. It talked about the left, libertarianism, not anarchism and things like that in that nature. So as you can see, that's one of the ingredients, y'all. And that's just one thing we're going to go into. And that's part of it. We also talk about, we're going to talk about agorism and egalitarian part of it. We might type up the actual definition. We're going to say nism. We'll add ism to it. Yeah, we're gonna add that to it. That's what this looks like if you type it up. And it gets, geo-libertarian gets criticized by Faudery. It's a progress. This is a lot of pushback. And we'll talk about libertarian conservatism in a minute. This is Fred Faudery, PhD, economist. A geo-libertarian replied to an article by Mike Kuno opposing geo-libertarianism. Oh, this is interesting. Progress. Okay, this is a good one right here. This is a good one right here. Libertarianism is the ethical proposition that all perceived harm is evil. Geoism, also called Georgeism, after Henry George, is the proposition that the rent of the land should be either shared equally or usually public revenue. Geo-libertarianism combines these two philosophies into equal self-ownership, equal rights to rent of natural resources. In contrast, the ideal libertarians believe in the absolute ownership of land, either by the first claimants or by those inheriting land from a conquest that left no documents survivors. And ideal libertarian Mike Kuno recently wrote an article opposing geo-libertarianism. I will now provide a geo-libertarian reply. First of all, Cuomo defines libertarians as those who seek monarchy, a limited state, but in fact, some libertarians are anarchists, as they believe both that human equality implies voluntary governance, and they believe that the stateless society can be peaceful and sustainable. Therefore, geo-libertarians can favor geoism without a state. Some do, contrary to Cuomo's assertion that geo-libertarian is a necessarily statist, but Cuomo begs the ethical question of the proper ownership of land. He asserts that the idealism. He said all idealism is correct and equal benefit with geoism is incorrect with no justification. His statement of geoism uses aggressive violence to force landowners to pay rent to a community is false if the members of the community are the property owners. Cuomo accuses geo-libertarians as also believing there is a collective ownership of land, value, or rent. That is false, because geo-libertarians believe that the rent is rightfully the property of the individuals of a community. In equal shares, collective aspects is the governance that implements the collection and disruption of rent rather than the rent itself. Geoists sometimes use language that confuse those not familiar with the ethics and economics. Is the case in the Wikipedia article, Geo-Libertarianism article cited by Cuomo. For example, some geoists say the landowners should compensate others for excluding them. From a site, critics such as Walter Cuomo can then say that same logic would imply that an owner of a car also excludes others and should compensate them. But the land exclusion in argument derives from the equal rights to the rent. There is nothing bad about exclusion itself. Cuomo says there's nothing special that says land should have different rules of ownership than say baseball bats. But what makes the land different from labor is what it is created by natural rather than by human action. Self-ownership cannot apply to what the self did not create. Cuomo agrees that the supply of spatial land is fixed, but points out that the use of land and can expand, but the expansion of use and the existence of unused land are irrelevant. What matters is that what the rent is created by the natural benefits, by the presence of the community, and land rent comes from the scarcity of land and that quality. But geoism does not depend on only scarcity, since labor is also scarce. Another confusing term used by Georgius is the aliadial ownership prevents an equal access to land. What geos means is that the collection of all economic rent of land brings the purchase prices down to about zero. That provides better access to the purchase of land. By lower income, people whose credited worthless is uncertain to tenders. But geoism supports that the individual right of the exclusive possessions when the title holder pays the community rental. Hence, geoism is not really based on physical access. Walter Cuomo is focused on the unfortunate terminology without analyzing the fundamental principles of geo-libertarianism. Cuomo criticized Winston Churchill for saying that land is perpetual monopoly. Again, Cuomo focused only on the superficial appearance, not the underlying reality. Sure, the land titles are exchanged, so an owner does not necessarily have perpetual title. But Churchill and George used the classical meaning of monopoly as an inability of entry to expand to supply. The only way to buy scarce land is to purchase from a previous owner. Land is a classical monopoly. The way tax permits are when their supply is fixed. This monopoly of land is perpetual because the land itself does not get used up. It does not run away even when taxed. Churchill wrote that the landowner skims the cream of the economy. He meant that the surplus for production is land. Rent is taken by the landowner who does nothing but holds title. Cuomo retorts that there is no skimming when someone offers to sell some land and another party agrees to buy it. But the skimming is the natural rent of the land and also the rental of generated by the public goods paid for by taxes on the labor goods. A buyer of a land is paying the present value of these future rents and the previous owner, whose capital gain along with his previous kept rents and indeed skimmed the cream. Cuomo that makes a common error in mixing labor and capital goods into the land, and he points out that landlords invest their time and resources to maintain an investment in real estate. But the economic meaning of land excludes labor and capital goods. The pure landlords is the economic role. As land title holder, aside from his other roles, when the holder of land also applies his time, the person is in the role worker, warning wages. When he invested in the development, he does so as a capital lord. Walter Cuono then argues that similar geoist argument could be made for water. Its natural supplies too is limited. Water is too essential for life. Why aren't geo-libertarians endorsing a water value tax? In fact, they do endorse a water value tax because natural water is land, as in oil in the ground. Tapping of the land rent should include economic rent of water and other material lands. And he then argues that geo-libertarianism has the potential to create a class of people who become land value tax assessors. But there's a similar class of people who privately appraise jewelry, collectibles, and real estate. And property system assessments on land value could be appealed ultimately to a jury. If the governance is abusing land value assessments, the juries would say no, and then the people could replace the governors. Cuono says land value taxation has unanswered questions such as how often the tax is paid. The answer is that the collection of peers should be whatever is most convenient. Most people pay utility bills monthly, so a monthly rent payment would be reasonable. But if the electronic payments can be done, a little transactions cost, but then daily payment would be even better. As to the question who decides, the elect representatives would set the general policy. So in a proper governance, ideal with a smaller group of voting. And then the people ultimately decide. Cuono asks a good question. What happens if a title holder cannot pay? The answer is that he can move out, or the rent can be deferred, or else a property no longer benefits from commonly community service such as a security. These are institutional implementations questions that are secondary and only important if the primary issue of proper ownership of land is agreed to. The question of who should wash the dishes is the secondary to the issue of whether the institution of marriage is proper. Just because there's no single answer to who washes the dishes does not imply that marriage itself inherently unwarranted. Cuono asks, how will geo-libertarians guard against an ever-increasing state that seeks to supplement the land value tax with other taxes and the fees such as an income tax, sales tax, etc.? That is a general problem with a monarchy or limited government, not with land value taxation as such. There are two answers. Number one, there's no guarantee, so anarchism is better, but anarchism also has no libertarian guarantees. Okay, you hear that? Let's read that again. There's no guarantee, so anarchism is better, but anarchism also has no libertarian guarantees. Number two, that is why we need a libertarian constitution and a governance structure that best preserves liberty, unlike today's mass democracy. And what they mean by that, he's talking about conservatism, not liberalism. That's, don't be fooled by that. Walter Cuono questions the meaning of the concept presented by the natural law philosopher John Locke that people may own land, its rent only if there is land of that quality freely available to others. The answer is simple. If the land is free, it has no rent. A marker rent implies that such land is not free. So Locke's proviso kicks in. Proviso kicks in. And a human equality implies an equal benefit from that rent. One may then possess the land under the conditions that the rent is paid to the proper owners, the members of the relevant community. Cuono then criticized the concepts of the commons as just another way to allow mob rule via a majority vote. No, the commons is simply land that is freely available to all with no user free, like the sidewalks, and that any peaceful person may use. If a mob rules a sidewalk, it is not the commons of today. Commons such as the oceans could be converted into private possessions, and geo-libertarianism would not oppose this, so long as the rent is equally shared, but there will always be commons as a frontier of use, such as an outer space. Does the existence of a commons beyond satellite orbits imply mob rule? The main problem with Cuomo's argument is that he does not confront the basic issue of the proper ownership of the land rent. He presumes that the ideal ownership is morally correct, but does not explain why the titles derived from the conquest and not from the self-ownership are morally proper. Cuomo also ignores the fact that the governmental provision of public goods generates a high rent and land value, which is subsidy if the taxes fall mostly on labor goods. And we're going to say labor goods. And okay, policies analyzed is properly comparative. Given a state case for land value taxation is that it is a morally economic better than taxes on income goods or value added. Cuomo ignores that this comparative. Analysts second within an anarchist setting since there are no taxes on labor goods. Labor goods value added in entrepreneurship. Your entrepreneurship landowners would have to pay for the service they benefit from. That would be geo-libertarian, but by overlooking a voluntary implementation of geoism, and Cuomo blocks out this insight. In conclusion, this anti-geoist argument is rebutted rebutted. Geo-libertarianism is moral, honest, truthful, sincere, and economically sound. So this is like a rebut to geo-libertarianism. I'm not going to go in on that. I mean, y'all can find such in depth if you want. I'm going to put this in the chat. I'm going to see people that's coming through. Appreciate y'all coming through. Salute to everybody. All hail Great Skull. DeAndre, what's going on? Kylie Jane, what's going on? Yeah, Simply Neat, what's going on? What's going on, Villain? Captain, what's going on, Sock Passe? What's going on, Nadia? Yeah, man. Put this down here for y'all. Yeah, the petty December. Yeah. See, everybody's through here. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're just gonna put this over here. That's geo-libertarianism, what we're gonna talk about. Let's see for a minute. Let's look up. We're under this umbrella, right? Let's look up. In case y'all don't know what egalitarianism is, in case we're just gonna brief off some things. We're gonna go in depth on that later and look some of the tenets. Okay, egalitarianism. Doctrine that all people are equal, deserves equal rights and opportunities. That's egalitarianism. Okay, the school of thought with the political philosophy that builds from the concept of social equality and prioritizing it for all people. Egalitarian doctrines are generally characterized the idea that all humans are equal and fundamentally worth or moral status. Some people say status. So we're not going to get into the wiki. Y'all know what that is. I'm just giving you a brief and what that is. And private ownership, you know that. Agorism, I think I researched this before. Agorism. In case y'all don't know what that is, I'm going to drop agorism. This is part of geo. Yeah, let's go with agorism. Okay. Agorism. Agorism is a social philosophy that advocates creating a society which relations between people are voluntary exchanges by means of a counter economics engaged with aspects of nonviolent revolution. As agorism, that's part of geo-libertarianism. And that's what they say, black market and things like that, agorism. That's like a philosophy. And, you know, and I think I was trying to learn how to pronounce the word, but agorism is a key phrase. Voluntary exchanges, yeah, we covered that. So we now are going to go into libertarian. Okay, give me a second. I'm gonna get this out. I'm gonna get this philosophy out. Yeah, I'm gonna get this out of the way. Libertarian conservatism and right libertarianism. It's in the wiki. Okay, advocates the greatest possible economic liberty, at least possible government regulation of social life, mirroring laissez-faire classical liberalism, but harness this is to believe more socially conservative philosophy, emphasize authority, moral, and duty. Okay. It's also referred to conservative libertarianism, and conservatism is a political philosophy, combines conservatism and libertarian represents that. So yeah, we're gonna get into that. Are we gonna talk about it? Yeah, the image of conservatism. Oh yeah, this is good right here. So we're gonna deal with right libertarianism, right? We're gonna get into that, and then we got right wing conservatism. You already know what that is. Strong capitalist, Christian influence, separation of church and state. We can have a small discussion on that. We're gonna read a little bit of this, and I'm going to play the string that I did for part 1, and we're gonna break some of these down, and I'm just gonna look at it for an angle. And the anarchist, the libertarian, I've read that last week. Okay, I'm gonna expound on. We're gonna talk about exposing racism. We're gonna read this again. The Murray Insider and things like that. We're gonna talk about, you know, the cons of it. That's on the inside of you already got the link last week, but this one I can give y'all what right wing libertarianism is about. So let me put this in here. Okay. Oh, what's going on? I am listening. Appreciate you coming through. Yeah, man. Yeah. So, okay. Also, let's see how much time we got. Okay. Let's see how much time we got. Okay, we got a lot of minutes. Okay, I got time so I can play the stream. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna skim through, y'all. We're gonna play this. My fault. Let me hit that. Let's go in. It's a political philosophy type of libertarianism, supports capitalist property rights, defends the market distribution of the natural resources and private property. The term right libertarianism is used to distinguish the class of views on the natural of property and capital. From left libertarianism, a type of libertarianism that combines self-ownership with an egalitarian approach to the natural resources, contrasts to social libertarianism. Right libertarianism supports free market capitalism. Like most of the libertarianism, it supports the civil liberties, especially natural law, negative rights, and a major reversal of the modern welfare state. Right libertarian political thought is characterized by the strict priority given to the liberty with the need to maximize the realm of individual freedoms of minimizing the scope of political authority. Right libertarians typically see a state the principal threat to the liberty. This is statism, differs from anarchist doctrines in the base upon the uncompromising individualism that places a little or no emphasis on human sociability or cooperation, stressing self-ownership, that the people have absolute right to the property that their labor produces. Economically, right libertarians make no distinction between capitalism and free markets and view in an attempt to dictate to the market process the counterproductive, emphasizing the mechanisms and self-regulating nature of the market, with this portraying government intervention and attempts to redistribute I can't say that word. Redistribute wealth redistribute wealth. Yeah, redistribute wealth as an invariable, unnecessary, counterproductive. Yeah, unnecessary and counterproductive. Although all right libertarians propose government intervention, there is a division between anarcho-capitalists who view the state as an unnecessary evil, wanting the property rights protected without statutory law through market generate tort, contract to the property law, and minarchists who support the need for the minimal state often refer to the right watchman state to provide the citizens with the courts and the military and police. So not much here. I mean, you can get a feel of what that is. I mean, y'all, I've gave you the ideas on that. We're going to expound on it some more. So, like I said, what's going on, She? Salute. And we're just going to get into the factors here. And yeah, and I think Cerulean shot us with him the link last week, and we're going to expose the racism part of it. So yeah, libertarian conservatism has always been an interesting field, and they just put it out here. So you know what I'm saying, and that's what we're gonna have. But we're not gonna look the link up. So we're gonna add another link to back up what his claims is. That was pre-Thanksgiving that he gave me these links. So and we're gonna look at this, the black oak seed and things like that. So yeah. And we're just gonna look at it for a minute. And you know, yeah, but that's how it is. Yeah, we're gonna go that. We're gonna see a difference, and I think the Black Rose. We're gonna read this because I didn't get into it right away, but we're gonna get into this part right here. Okay, exposing racist history of libertarianism and Murray Rothbard. Murray Rothbard was a student of Ludwig von Mises and a friend of Iran. Bar was a racist, believed that it's a voluntary separation of the races. I have to argue that his teacher, Mises, was an elitist with a fascist tendencies, but this is part of libertarian history, is part that libertarians would like to cover up. It slips up out at times, but has done with Rand Paul, and others. But we need to take a look what these guys believe circa 1990, because that was not so long ago, and that is like 31 years ago, y'all. We know that Rothbard spoke kindly of David Duke, the KKK office, Ku Klux Klan, if y'all don't know what that is, office seeker. Only disaffected libertarian was dismayed that Rothbard would seek to align himself with the pure races just because he believed in limited government. The only reason that Rothbard did not back a separate state for blacks was because he was afraid it would cost too much in foreign aid. See, that's that. Yeah, that's the insider, if y'all didn't know. It should be noted that Ron Paul distanced himself from Rothbard's racism and stated that racism is a collectivist view, but still there is a strong racial tension in the libertarian thought. Ron Paul's newsletters had racist thoughts in them. Yeah, I remember this. Although Dr. Paul stated they were put in his publication without his knowledge, I have no reason to doubt that, but these were mistakes that are significant. But even Rand Paul had made racial gaffe, is right, after he won the Senate seat, that he regretted when he said he was for the repeal of 1964 Civil Rights Act. It would seem that the racial libertarian theme continues. It continues. Okay, so then we need to look at the history, at more history to see if this is a constant pattern or if it's just an aberration after all. May buy into the financial views of libertarianism. They are used to justify Wall Street's excess, but they are more insidious and dangerous than that. Racism is actually quite compatible with libertarian economics. Libertarian economics stresses individualism, even though these guys know that there are moms changed their diapers. They had to get help along the way growing up. Individualism is great, but I remember going to class reunions and seeing that once you got to the 20th reunion, there was a lot less individualism and a lot more humility. We all need people. We are not islands. He said, we're not islands. Yep, there is a theme historically that comes from Mises. From Mises, as quoted in Ludwig von Mises, implies being a savage animal is okay, but the newborn child is born a savage. This is why libertarians only accept the legitimacy of voluntary relationships. This plays into the desire to repeal Civil Rights Act so that you can kick out the ethnic minorities from your restaurants without serving them. This plays into the desire of Rothbards to voluntary separate from blacks in a nation in a public activity. You can see how this insidious moral breaks down society and goodwill. One can deduce that if the foundation of libertarianism is rotten, so is the elitist financial decay that seeks limited government to the extreme. It is a decay because it is based upon desire to ignore the needs of the greater society. But that society has been stronger because capitalism is tempered with compassion, where capitalism becomes anarcho-capitalism, a term coined by Rothbard. It becomes a capitalism of unwholesome greed. The capitalist still has to take the subway or drive his car into the city. If he gets shot in a destabilized society, how does that benefit him? If there's no money to fix the roads, how can he do his job? How can he do his job? The danger, of course, is that people will become less socialized if there are tech gadgets to allow people to stay at home and work from home. One can hope that these young people who have this wealth and independence will come to see the importance of the common good anyway. So, yeah, this is one of the insiders. One of the links, I had this like last week, and what I'm saying, and we're going to get into, we talked about anarchism and libertarianism on the geo-libertarian side. The one I just read is actually a libertarian conservatism. We mentioned the racism part. So as we see here, we're going to take our time here before I'm going to play this video. So if y'all watch, I'll give you an example of, we're going to see here. We're going to paste this. So let me get here right quick. So when we talk about things like the geo-libertarianism we read early in the stream, we talk about left libertarianism and egalitarian private ownership, agorism, and voluntary exchange. State is redundant. Okay, so we're going to talk about anarchism and the difference between the two and libertarianism. So we're going to discuss this as geo-libertarianism talk. So the difference in the verses. So this is from the Anarchist Federation, Black Rose, Farrakhan, Anagustia Rosa Negra, means Black Rose, English and Spanish. So it's a real thing. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. And I appreciate people coming through, man. Like, I appreciate y'all coming. This is part 2 of it, and we're going to expound on it. I'll play the video, but I will have an open discussion tomorrow to see where we at. And I'm just going to talk about it. And tomorrow I'll be talking about something totally different because I don't know what we're going to be talking about in streams and things like that nature. Yeah. What is the difference between libertarianism and anarchism? Don't tread on me, they said on the symbol, right? Mm-hmm. Don't tread on me. Mm-hmm. We published this brief as a resource to dispel some of the common myths around the meaning of what is it currently referred to as libertarianism and those of anarchism. We should also that is a conclusion appears primarily in the United States and only within the last 50, 60 years below the additional resources we recommend. That's what they recommend. By Tom Wetzel. What is the difference between libertarianism and anarchism? This depends on which is the two meanings of. Okay. Yeah. Hold on, y'all. Oh, shit. Hold on. Okay. I'm going to read this. Okay. It depends on which of the two meanings of libertarian you have in mind and which of the original 19th century, early 20th century sense of libertarian, which is still prominent in the number of the non-English speaking countries. There isn't really any difference in terms which segment of political opinion these terms refer to. In this original sense of libertarian, difference is between positive and negative. The definition of anarchism has a negative definition opposed to the top-down hierarchies, power bosses, rulers such as the corporations and state. Libertarian refers to the viewpoint that places great emphasis on positive liberty controlling your life, controlling decisions to extent you are affected by them, self-management and overwork, and community and access to the means to develop your potential, thus your capacity for self-management. See, they're showing you the difference between the two. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's just part of it. And we're talking about the geo part of it, of libertarianism. And I'm just saying, man, my UEI is fucked up. So y'all bear with me. And that's just part of it, you know. I'm gonna use my other device. It's acting up. Other device is acting up. Yeah, it's acting up. Yeah, I hate fucking gadgets. I hate gadgets for real. I want to throw some shit away. I want to replace a battery or something. I want to delete some apps. But yeah, that's what we're gonna talk about in so many words, and you know, we'll have to charge some shit. You know. Thank God. Let me look at something real quick. Yeah, because my stuff is acting janky right now. But you know, I'll deal with that later. And that's just part of it. The jankiness. But we're gonna get into the right-wing libertarianism in a minute. So let's see if I had it posted. And let me see if I had it posted. No. Oh man. Yeah. Yeah, let me hold this for a minute. I'm gonna share this for a minute. Because this is one reason. Yeah, we're gonna post this right now. And I'm just like, okay. So, in so many words, you know, we're gonna get into it in a little bit, and we're gonna talk about it. Okay, we're gonna speed it up. U.S. right-wing libertarianism. The other meaning of libertarian was conceded, and we talked about this earlier with the right-wing libertarianism. We'll get into the right-wing part. Here we go. Okay, was concocted in the United States in the 1950s, 60s period. It was designed to be a new name for advocates of the classical 19th century extreme individualist liberalism. What is essential to the form of libertarianism is eliminating the definition of liberty to negative liberty, absence of coercion or restraint. Thus, you can see the distinction between the two libertarianisms and how they view the institutional of wage and labor and under capitalism. To the right-wing libertarians, being forced to work for employers, being commanded by bosses is constant. Is consistent with liberty because no one puts a gun to your head to take a job, and therefore isn't coercion from the anarchist or the left libertarian point of view. This is a drastically poverty-stricken definition of liberty. Right-wing libertarians are fine with the existence of the state because a state is necessary to protect the minority capitalist or implying class. Their disagreements with left-wing liberals and social democrats over the state are about to use the state to provide social benefit and the systems to benefit the masses of ordinary people, unemployment benefits, minimum wage laws, social security systems, public health insurance, etc. Right-wing libertarians are opposed to these things. That's their thing. And here's left-wing, and then they talk about anarchism, the difference, libertarianism. So we're actually talking about the geo part of it, libertarians as well. To the left-wing libertarians, the anarchists being forced to work for employers, being subject to the management power, is a form of oppression because it disallows your self-management and prevents the realization of the potential of the wage workers who are stuck in dead-end jobs. Anarchists do not necessarily reject government. As an anarchist thinker, Peter Kropotkin pointed out, there is a distinction between the state and government. Government consists of institutions of governance, which would be making rules, adjusting disputes, and social self-defense. A state, on the other hand, is a top-down bureaucratic apparatus with command over military and police forces, separate from real control by the mass of the people. But the left libertarians advocate systems of provision of social benefits such as free healthcare, education, or public transit. But they want these services to be managed directly by their workers. But the left-wing libertarians and anarchists are opposed to the state because of its other side. It is used to defend, protect the interests of dominating and exploiting classes such as capitalists and bureaucrats. Left-wing libertarians thus propose to replace the state with the systems of direct popular power based on the direct democracy of assemblies in a workplace and neighborhoods, and delegate the bodies closely controlled by these bases. Thus, we could say that they want governance without state. So yeah, you heard direct democracy. I think there's a country like Switzerland is known for that. Yeah. So this is by Tom Whistle, the libertarian socialist writer, activist based on the San Francisco Bay. And yeah, he talks about it. And I think Cerulean gave me this link. And so if you want to see this link, this was also in the part 1 video that we did on the stream. So we're going to put this in the chat. And yeah, so you know what I'm saying? We're gonna, yeah. Oh, damn, it's almost an hour. Shit, we're gonna have to paste this, and yeah. So we're gonna go into egalitarianism. Yeah, who's that? Training natural science. Okay, cool. Okay, we're gonna just expound on this a little bit. We're gonna stop it right here. And I might keep the black rose up. I might keep this up. And I'm just going to go into my archives for a minute. Hold on. So we're just going to expound on what we got here in so many words. And that's just part of it. So we're going to, I'm going to go on my channel for a minute. Yeah, it's an hour now. Let's see. We're going to watch part 1. Hey, what's going on? Yeah, we're going to talk about it. I'm just giving you an introduction to libertarianism. On this one, we're going to skim through a lot of parts and let's see where we at. I was talking about real things and things like that. I think I switched. Was giving you the introduction and things like that. I talked about this too. I didn't go in depth on it. So, yeah. I'm going to get to this part. Hold on. I'm going to get this right here. All right, this part we talked about the whole systems and everything, so y'all can bear with me and things like that. So we'll talk about this and we're going to expound on everything. So yeah, and yes, an hour, and we're going to play this for like a couple of minutes, and then I will, if y'all ask questions, I will provide something down below. So with that, I want y'all to enjoy, and I'm going to be on mute. I'm going to let y'all watch a few minutes of this or whatever. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's what you got to put up with. But in so many words, I can't believe someone wants to be it nowadays. But yeah, libertarianism is just one of those ideologies I remember years ago. Yeah. Okay. He said, I guess classical liberal ideologies fits into the regular modern libertarian model. Yeah, it does in some degree. You see it all the time. It just won't stop. And once you get into that mode, man, you just don't stop doing what you're doing. But that's just one of those ideologies you just got to stick with. And people get it conflated at times. And it's that classic liberal mode. Once you get in that mode, you get in that mode for good. That's just how people get down. So, in so many words, you expect people to change and they don't change. And that's just it. And you gotta understand that. So when you're doing that, people get into that mode anyway. But yeah, man, like that liberalism stuff. I mean, when I talked about it yesterday and I talked about libertarianism, libertarianism is another beast. It's a combination of a super small government. It's a liberal idea. It's very capitalistic. It has that plutocracy feel to it. See, I ain't got into fascism. Fascism is just light. That's just lightweight compared to what y'all see in the surfaces in other countries. What's the point? Uh, I would say attack or on the issue. Sometimes lean more to the right, but it does lean to the left if you're a geo-libertarian. Yeah. Your ideologies, I mean, if you're a classic liberal, you're a classic liberal. You just got liberal ideas. A lot say if you're a liberal, degenerate. You got boys like infantry skills and all that. Yeah. It's just like wow, man. It's just wild what's going to happen. But it's just like I thought about being a libertarian, but I said as a black man, it's no benefit. Ideology wise, my politics is kind of moderate. I'm more of a moderate than you think and independent. But some people rather be libertarian, just an scapegoat. In these spaces, some people promote that a little bit, or a little bit of conservatism or lean towards right. That ain't me. They go super extreme. But yeah, get some context. What y'all talking about? So yeah, man. Okay, get some context. And that's how it's gonna be. Yeah, man. But yeah. But I'm not really tripping off anything. Yep. Okay. Let's get it. He said, "Do you think some of Trump's policies were libertarianish?" A little bit degenerate. I'll say a little bit, but it's mostly liberal. I will say on a military front, but economics, a little bit of conservative. Yeah.
Well, greetings, esteemed brethren.
Greetings.
Greetings. So, talking libertarianism. Is that interesting subject there? Because you have a lot of so-called Negro conservatives that run around here with their, new age libertarian tropes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And not understanding where these ideas actually originate from, or just how much, while claiming the Southern strategy was some kind of a myth, espousing all of the very tropes that stem out of the Southern strategy.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like one of those ideas being the broken window.
Yeah, I remember that. Q Wilson. Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Things are created out of these think tanks, far right think tanks. Like Manhattan Institute, Stanford's Hoover Institute, which is where the most quoted coon of our generation comes from. Thomas Sowell,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I'm actually looking for my book right now, The Two-Party South, because Alexander P. Lane actually wrote about libertarians, though briefly, talk about how the Southern Dixiecrats, what you call a blue dog conservative,
Mm-hmm.
those that were for the succession from the Union to create the Confederacy,
Right.
which was the beginning of the American conservative movement. That was the beginning of it. Succession from the Union is the beginning of the conservative movement in America.
Right.
Now, we get to Southern strategy, where you have Democrats having a hard time winning the South back. And then this incoming thing, it was under, Herbert Hoover's Lily White strategy. There's a book that you can get called Hoover Blacks and Lily Whites. And the Lily White strategy literally becomes the mold for what you now know as the Southern strategy. Do not run as a Democrat, run as a Republican with Democratic views,
Mm-hmm.
with Southern Dixiecratic views. Now we come into the 60s and 70s. These are your Bull Connors, right? Your Lee Atwaters.
And you Barry Goldwaters
specifically,
as well.
Specifically, more so Bull Connor,
Mm-hmm.
because when Ronald Reagan wins the governorship of California, it's Bull Connor's political strategy that he used to win California. And then all of these new liberal, like super far left liberal leaning ideas like no fault divorce, which wins precedent in California under Reagan's governorship, right?
Yeah, man. Yep. It's like the Southern strategy, but Yeah, it's an interesting topic because I remember hearing this back in, I think on YouTube around 2010. People was broadcasting like it was nothing on my old channel. Used to get in debates about this topic a lot. You got different terms like libertarian socialism and various ideological forms, and I'm scratching my head. I said, "Oh, okay." And then you got your actual libertarianism. Like I researched today, I said, "Well, damn, but I've researched it before." Well, yeah, it's changed. They dabble with some changes to it, but it's not that old. It's new, but the concept is not old, though. But they always bring that utilitarian philosopher John Stuart Mill. That's a red flag, to be honest with you.
Well, if you really look at it, they, if you like say the late Victorian era libertarians,
Mm-hmm.
right? These are people that are, you know, they're the they're the regime that gave you laissez-faire,
Yeah.
right? They were, because that comes out of the end of the French Revolution,
Mm-hmm.
right? So they are the purveyors of laissez-faire. The government shouldn't be involved in, you know, commerce, trade, because in their minds it's basically deals, whether contractual or non-contractual deals between two private quote unquote parties. But it is a semi-anarchist idea.
Mm-hmm.
See, it's interesting because during Lester Frank Ward's time, and he was a contemporary of Emil Durkheim. During his time, you wouldn't be able to tell a libertarian from a Marxist.
Oh yeah.
I actually talk about it in the capitalism, capitalism and socialism.
Oh yeah.
And nobody ever questions, like, how does capitalism end up on the right when it's actually more closely aligned to socialism than it is to, say, mercantilism? Because mercantilism would mean that you are for monarchies and all of that, unless you're talking about an autocratic style government in which the captains of industry have the same measure of power, leeway, and influence as actual government, which is what libertarianism is.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be able to usurp government by using commerce, right? Wrest control of the government by impoverishing the government's taxpayer, right? The thing that keeps it flush and afloat, which is the taxpayer. So how do you hold it? How do you hold that at bay? Oh, now we're getting into the nepotism of, that is, rampant within capitalism. Government agents, public servants as empty suits for corporate influence. Who would have thought? But if you go all the way back to the very founding of the country, i.e., the Constitution, was expressly against such arrangement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's get. But these dudes think that's the way, but to me, it's not. It's not something I would promote in 2021. So
See, when you're talking about government corruption, you are talking about public servants within the government who act as corporate shills.
Mm-hmm.
That's really what you're talking about when you talk about government corruption. When you talk about corporate corruption, well, you're just talking about the corporation in itself. A corporation that uses government to prop up its failing enterprise.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I actually talked about it with the video I did on the welfare state.
Mm.
Oh, that's one of the 6MV videos, the welfare state and capitalism versus socialism. Capitalism and socialism actually belong on the same side because they're both leftist ideals.
Mm-hmm.
Except for capitalism is basically socialism for the rich. And that's actually quoting Nick Hanauer, who's a venture capitalist, who talks about, but he's more of a moderate leaning guy. He's more of a moderate or a progressive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, libertarianism, semi-anarchist, small government. They say, well, if you're for small government, then you just naturally want to defund and reduce the size of the police, then, right? You should naturally, because if you're talking about small government, well, why do we have all of the? We shouldn't have so much government influence in our lives. Well, where does the point of impact between government and your life actually begin? In law enforcement. That's like if you look at where you actually interface with government more times than not, who executes the policies of government? Law enforcement. That's why they're aptly named law enforcement. But if you notice, most of your conservatives, they run on a what? Law and order platform while yelling small government. But in Frank Lester Ward's time, the even though they were well aware that it was pseudo anarchist, what they're saying is this: if this were truly a United States that acknowledges the Constitution of that United States, then that is the only Constitution that should be acknowledged. No individual state Constitution should be acknowledged other than the one for the United States government. So, because see, that's how far the whole states' rights argument actually goes back. Because if you really look at all these like state constitutions, all every single state constitution is only born during the Reconstruction era. They, most of them aren't even created during the time that they become states. It only becomes during the Reconstruction era. That was to impose states' rights. But that's how the old Southern Dixiecrats, they camouflage themselves into the conservative, the neoconservative movement. And because what you would call neoconservatism today is recognized as paleoconservatism. So how do you acknowledge the fact that you are anti-misogynist, you are pro status quo, you want to strip federal government of its regulatory authority over the state, which is basically the impetus for succession from the union, right? Without having that stain of conservatism and neoconservatism, well, you branch off under a neoliberal idea, adopt some of the liberalist viewpoints, and then you take a pre-existing idea, i.e., libertarianism, that basically was commandeered from France, and then you rebrand yourself as a quote unquote libertarian. And why does it take place in, the 50s and 60s? Well, because that just after World War II, when in order to adopt all of these Eastern European groups, such as the small hats, and right, that was part of their deal. In order to further Americanize them, and give them some glimpse or even some measure of the quote unquote American dream that they wanted to promote. So you give the small hats the civil liberties, unions, the jobs and civil affairs. Which is why most of them are lawyers. You gave the Irish the police force, right? You gave the Italians the fire department, EMTs. You had the Eastern Germans, the medical field. This is why your most renowned, you know, American medical doctors had German names. Well, before mid 20th century, we started importing more Eastern Indians, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Most of them had German names.
Yeah.
So the Germans get the medical field.
Mm-hmm.
You even look at it. GlaxoSmithKline.
Mm-hmm.
German beginnings, German origin.
Yeah.
Pfizer, German origin.
Oh yeah.
And your civil liberties and your civil service jobs, those small hats, right?
Right. There we go.
Mostly lawyers. We
Mm-hmm.
know the best lawyers are what? Small hats.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they were given these fields. That was that was a part of the agreement for their acceptance into whiteness, the institution of whiteness. It was a part of the deal Eastern Europeans got for assisting America in the war effort, even though at best they played only a marginal role, while we know that the great American Negro It's the reason why World War II was won. Shout out to one of my heroes, Dory Miller.
Yeah. Yep. A lot of entities with libertarianism. I read about the Paul family, the racist stuff he said, the dad. Oh, that tarnished him. I remember that. Someone brought it up in the chat. Yeah, that's a whole nother species.
And salute to our esteemed brethren Dre, the pettiest of officers.
One-eye advisors.
Pro-capitalist.
Mm-hmm.
You'll notice you keep hearing, and I hear it in a lot of these Senate and congressional hearings lately, like especially out of the mouth of Rand Paul, always referring to, like, these are the new McCarthy, the new McCarthyists. Everything's communist and socialist. There is no greater socialist Marxist ideal than capitalism. That's why if you look at your socialist and communist nations of today, they do capitalism a lot better than actual supposedly capitalist countries like America, right? But America has had something that none of the other countries have had. They have had a mass media machine that can make you think that capitalism is a conservative idea.
You hear that? He says a conservatism idea. And we was saying that in this stream. This is part one. This is where we get in depth with the ideologies and things like that. And this is where I was talking about geo-libertarianism at the beginning of the stream and the libertarian conservatism part right here. We was talking about. So we're going in depth on probably the libertarian conservatism part, and they want to rebrand themselves. Yeah, these terms I remember going back at a time when this was popular, when I was on YouTube, when I started in 07. And in the recent years, I heard about it somewhere around 08. And this is where it's like my second year of YouTube. I've heard that term quite some time. I know it's been around a long time, since like the 70s through all the way to the 90s. 90s, I didn't hear much about it because people kept talking about being Republican and Democrat. Never heard these terms. I heard of anarchism or anarchy. I've heard those ideologies for years when I was in school, to my revolutions and things like that. But when I heard about libertarianism, no lie, it was 08. This is the election when Obama was in there. That party threw people off. That's the first time I ever heard it, because I was like 20 at the time. I already just turned 20, and I'll never forget. And I heard about it in the summertime too. And I'll never forget when I was on YouTube. YouTube was lively back then. Okay. The information that you see back then, it was unheard of, because people, it was around, but people didn't take care to do research. At the time, people was stuck in their own little worlds and didn't care. I cared back then. At that age, I was a lot younger and a lot smarter, and I took the risk of that part of the education. That's what I did in my 20s. I actually studied shit. I was on this tip for years. Now in my 30s, and relearned some of the ideals that I've learned. It helped me think more and see more. But what I did in this stream, man, like that part one, we just expounded on it. But I'm gonna let you listen to the rest. I might cut it and then we're going to talk about some of the things we went over. And yeah, and I played the string. I do this all the time. This is the final exercise when we do these ideologies, but we will talk about political systems in general. And that's what's going to bring us in. That's the whole purpose of what we're talking about. So, because I'm going to expound on that later. So that's the thing. We're going to talk about capitalism. We're going to bring up the philosophy aspect because we're going to knock this video down. So just bear with me and we're going to play it. So here you go.
When it's actually a liberal one.
Yeah. And
They can make you think that big government is a liberal idea when it's actually a conservative one.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, I talked about that last week. This ties into it because libertarianism, you got your options. Yeah, you had your little spewels, but what we see today is, yeah, you're absolutely correct. And when I think about the Republicans, I think about liberalism. I don't even think about anything else or conservative. But the Democrats, when it comes to the military industrial complex, yeah, I talked about that. Budget.
I mean, it's wild. Wow. Mass media machine, man.
Yeah.
Mass media. A motherfucker.
Mm-hmm.
What else is there to say about libertarianism?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a fault. So it's really like kind of, it's like playing a shell game, right? To be conservative leaning, or to give the appearance, it comes out of the mass appeal to whites is really what popularized libertarianism. The mass appeal to whites by small hats. Like if you want to get into the nitty gritty of how libertarianism becomes popular in America, it begins with the mass appeal to whites. I think I mentioned it briefly, but not as like a libertarian thing, but more so as an argument against those people that talk about the welfare state and all this other garbage. But yeah, there's not really a whole lot more to say. That's why I dropped those links earlier. This is a little couple of bookmarks for you.
Yeah, he mentioned those links, and that's just what it is. Like, and I appreciate him dropping those, man. Like, yeah. And and he was just providing those links, so I don't want to just extend it that longer. And I think the whole purpose of it, I done seen it already, and then I'm just like, yeah, I appreciate you stopping by, everyone. Yeah, this has been another one, but so I'm gonna knock this off for a minute, and we're gonna talk about what we're gonna talk about. But yeah, man, what's going on, brothers? Love, salute. And that was it on the video, and so we're gonna expound on what we came here. And so yeah, we're gonna hit this right quick. So I'm on the bottom again, right? Okay, we're gonna stay with it and what we just talked about. So we discussed about the difference between the libertarianism and anarchism. We talk about that guy. We talk about the Rothbard guy on the other link. And we talked about the geo-libertarianism. We talked about the egalitarian part, agorism a little bit. Everything's complete. But I basically, libertarian conservatism talks about the militarism aspect. It deals with the four pinnacles like the church and state, traditional libertarianism. And that's just the whole purpose of what we're doing. And I'm glad we talked about it in the video in part one. I know y'all saw the parts. So it is complete what we were saying here, and it's our objective. And I'm glad I came and doing this right there. But you know what I'm saying? But y'all can listen. But yeah, they had to rebrand and do an ideology, man. And that's what they did with the traditional powers. So basically what we're saying about geo-libertarianism and libertarian conservatism, it just became that fact. And so once we had that fact laid out, it just shows you that's just how it is. Yeah, man. And they just acting crazy. They ain't got nothing else. The better dude talking about the right wing and all that when we was talking about, but those people, it's just crazy, man. Like one thing I could say about them is like that's been common place on YouTube for years. So when we was talking about part of it, the left, libertarianism, to me, I just look at the part where you just got to study the exchange part, and then state is redundant into anarchism. That's a little bit in agorism, private ownership, and the egalitarian, way. That's the left. Now, the left doesn't really have no power. It's really the libertarian conservatism part, the right wing conservatism, and the fascism and neoconservatism ways. Strong capitalism, Christian influence. That's the problem. Christian influence ruins every damn thing. It's the militarism aspect, the military industrial complex. The Democrats, the last blue dog, like you see in Joe Biden, that's very a common issue in the world. Okay. It will always gonna be an issue. And people gonna have problems with libertarianism because that's the subject of the night of the two. And I'm gonna put it over here somewhere so y'all can manage and whatnot. So I'm not really tripping off the fact of the ideology. So in so many words, we can get into it and we just expound on what we say and whatnot. The intervention, we talk about small government, neolibertarianism, like the classic, militarism, expand democracy. That's a form of conservatism right there. See, anytime you hear democracy, that is a form of conservatism, idea. So the idea of it explains on this philosophy is excellent. And then I'm glad he mentioned anarchism and capitalism. We're going to talk about all the stuff we learned. We're going to talk about communism and socialism and the difference in individuals. All this right here, we're going to talk about. Okay. Because when we talk about libertarianism, it's going to stem from this. And we're going to talk about things that we already talked about, but we're going to talk about the systems of it. And I'll provide links of each after I have the philosophy page, and I'm going to bounce around back and forth. You're going to see something from me next Wednesday. So be prepared. I will talk about anarchism, conservatism, individualism, socialism, and communism. We're going to talk about systems that help societies. That's going to be political societies, systems that we're going to talk about. And that's the aspect we need to talk about because that's important. People always talk about these problems. Well, this goes into account of the ideology. What's the idea like, right? So when you talk about things, you just put it in perspective. So yeah, I'm done with that. I mean, if y'all want to come up and discuss, that's cool. I got time. And, because I'll be on here tomorrow night and I'm just like saying, yeah, it's one of those things. Like, I know people is doing it, whatever. So, yeah, man. Yeah, I'm still here. But yeah, like I said, the ideologies is like what we study, man. We just put it right here for y'all. And, if y'all want to cover, that's cool. But yeah, it's just like I said, libertarian conservatism is what it is, man. Right wing ideology of conservatism. It's a strong capitalist society, Christian influence, and the separation of church and state. It's all basically militarism as its finest. It's not much I can say on it. I've read some of the links for you early in the stream, and I might provide some that I've read on what I put in the chat for y'all. I think it was the Black Seed or something like that. Some other links. Okay, I'm gonna put some more. Hold on. Y'all give me 1 second. Give me 1 second because I want y'all to get the gist of what I'm talking about. Is what is the matter? Exposing the racial. I won't have to give you this again because I don't think y'all can hear me in this right now. So I don't think y'all get the gist of what I'm saying in so many words. So that's the whole point. So you know what I'm saying? Like, hold on. Get the gist of it. So yeah, we're gonna put this right there. And I'm just gonna say, look at it from that angle. And then we're gonna got the two sides of the same coin. No thanks. And those links is nice. I got them saved. If y'all want to ask me anything, I'm not gonna read the most of it for you. I'm just gonna put that in the chat for y'all and just gonna go copy it and just whatever. So basically, I'm just gonna put this in here for y'all because this is what I was talking about last week on it, and we're just gonna keep it simple. And that's just part of the resources that you got. So in so many words, we have that so many. And then that's just how it is. So I'm saying. And that's how it is. But in so many words, you have what you have. So you know what I mean? And that's just how you get it. That's how you get it done in so many words. But yeah, I was gonna put these down for y'all. So that's what I was talking about last week, and we got into it on that part. So when we talk about they are the same coin, and that's just what it is, and that's just how your purpose is gonna be. So in so many instances, you think that's not a factor what we was talking about. So yeah, talking about the individual and things like that, and we're talking about geo-libertarianism right here. And that's what matters. And when we was getting into libertarianism as a subject, I'm glad I did it in pre-Thanksgiving because I felt like that stream was needed. And now we're doing this in December, and I told you to come through, and everybody came through as usual. And that's just the whole point. So, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so many after that, you know, you just got to get into it in your focus. So, yeah. And we was talking about it for each, you know, and I'm glad the links he provided was excellent for the stream. And I say, you know what, this is going to be good for me. You know, it's very difficult to talk about because it's one-sided. You know, when you talk about libertarianism, you just want to put it in its proper perspective. And that's the thing about libertarianism. And I think when you talk about this subject, it's only two sides of the right and left. So when they give you ideals, they give you the authoritarian, and they give you the actual libertarianism in the ways, and that's whatever. So that's the problem with it. So when people have certain things, so they give you this political compass. I'm gonna show you something. I'm gonna show you something. Because so many people, they just don't get it, and they don't get what they want. So I'll show you this right here. See, when you got political compass right here, I mean, shouts out to PK Angel. They show you the authoritarian left and right, right? That's the throw off. I don't really care for that shit. That's not actual, you know, this is basic shit. This is why people don't know nothing about politics. They keep it on a minute surface level, and that's the damn problem. And we don't study things correctly. If you deal with the philosophy ideas, it throws people off. See, authoritarian, yeah, that's power, but to me, that's a loose term. Okay. Libertarian, loose term. You deal with right and left. Now, authoritarianism, what you have, right and left, that's your basic domestic politics, so to speak. Like liberal conservatism, that's really not reality, quiet as it's kept. Because most people don't live in an authoritarian society. I mean, yes, it's authoritarian countries, but America's not authoritarian. We want thoughts, but we're not authoritarian. We're actually this down below. Quiet as is kept. Because the left, you already got your geo-libertarian, then you got your libertarian conservatism right here. So the Jorgensen, that's a female. And yeah, The ideology is what it is, but they going by based off elections metrics. So don't be thrown off by these stupid terms right here. Put it in its proper perspective. I'm gonna actually bring what authoritarianism is, because a lot of people don't know what they're talking about. They just throw in words and don't understand them. It's more to it. See, a lot of people misconstrued ideology. That's the problem in these damn spaces, especially black and white space. They don't know what the fuck they talking about. And that's what irritates me. Like, I'm glad I'm doing these exercises to do my Wednesday streams. It's going to be a lot of it's history and historically, politically. And you want these to matter in so many words. And that's the thing about having those instances like that. You know what I'm saying? So when you have these policies, you study the basics of the gist and then just keep it as it is. So yeah, man, like one of these things, like I think people get thrown off is by the compass and things like that. So I'm not really surprised what's going on in so many words. And that's just the thing that most people gotta have is here, and then you just have to have in so many. And that's how you gotta have it. But when you have people like that, they just get focused on the wrong things, like, you know. And I'm glad he sent me this, and this was like a while ago. I think it was like months ago when he sent me this, and this is before I even upgraded my stuff and just be enamored with a lot of stuff. But you know, that's just part of what's the gist of everything. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not really surprised what's going on, and that's how you got to have it in so many instances. So that's what you got to have in so many words. And when you have so many people like that, that's just how it becomes an expounding. So in these instances, you just look at terms like what we talked about tonight, and when you get into the geo-libertarianism part, you talking about the left libertarian, like on the block we see in Hawkins over there. And like I said, private ownership, egalitarianism, they talked about, you know, basically like Green Party-ish. You know, talk about free market capitalism, capital economics. The other side talks about militarism, the budget, and the spending and all that stuff. And they pretend they want small government, but really they want big money and big government. They front like they want small, but the left wants small. It bounces back and forth. A lot of people say it changed. No, it doesn't. It's the ideologies are conflated because they want you to think that the right is usually conservative, but in reality it's more liberal. So yeah, these terms get conflated a lot, but a lot of times it's good to research them and learn the basics and the gist, what they come from. But it's the idea behind these terms too, what we're coming to find out later terms. And that's what we're seeing. And in so many words, we're just seeing it for what it is. And that's just the gist of learning these terms verbatim, right? So when you get into these terms, you understand what's going on. And I will say like this: when you have anything that's part of it, you learn these terms over time. And to me, when I was younger, I didn't understand proper libertarianism, like the libertarian conservatism, the geo-libertarianism in its different types of its form. I'm glad I did this series because I want y'all to know that I was thinking about other individuals for saying that. And I said I wasn't going to stay on conservatism way too much and the actual liberalism, because it got triggered when we talk about conservatism and things like that. And that's just the whole premise of what's what. And then that's just the thing that we gotta see. And I think when they got triggered by that, I was talking about the Barry Goldwater and things like that. And it was trying to make it a little competitive and things like that. So when I look at that, it's just what it is. And I will say, like, probably you see this going around. And that's just part of it. And I'm not really worried about what's going on here, man. You know what I mean? Because I do these a lot, and then I'm like, yeah, because I'm gonna talk about something different tomorrow. But yeah, but this series, I'm going to end the political ideology series. Well, we will talk about systems like capitalism. We're going to talk about anarchism, individualism, communism, and socialism. And we're going to talk about these systems like authoritarianism and totalitarianism. We're going to mention them as well and break down the sources in this philosophy feed I got. If y'all want to send me links, I'm informed to give y'all what I think about them. You know what I'm saying? And put it in a political perspective. You know what I'm saying? Because I will do these next Wednesday. But next Wednesday, I'll provide that stream for you. But I will look these up next week and during all Monday and Tuesday. Because Monday, I'll do the independent thinking series that will become next Monday. It's going to be after Sunday Madness. That's going to be a night stream. We're going to do it, and we're going to start off by reviewing the video. I mean, a stream. You know, I know Rashawn was there. It's the third one, right? And once we review that, we're going to review what's going to happen in that stream and what we talked about being independent thinking. I mentioned to reference another stream and things like that nature. And we're going to talk about the conversation that we had then, right? Then the Wednesday stream is a political stream. We're going to do Wednesday. That may not be an open discussion or whatever. You know, we'll see, and we'll see where it goes. But also, we will do another Thursday Thrills again, and that's it. You know, and we'll do the Sunday stream, and then we're not going to do an independent thinking series on that Monday. So we got to see where my schedule's like. So we're good for December. We got time. We got places to go, and that's just what it is in so many words. So yeah, if y'all want to feel free to come up or whatever, or discuss these things like what we talked about, and I'm just like saying, showing you the political compass, and if you can come forward, that's fine. And I'm just gonna say, like, look, that's all I talked about tonight, and that's just what it is. I know it's on the 2-hour mark because I can knock it 3 hours if I want to, and just, you know, come back another day and another night, because I know this is gonna be short and sweet, because it ain't gonna be much talking as much as I would love to have. But you know, this it's just the last call of that. But I will give you a link to this as well. The political compass. I mean, I got from PK Angel, shot him out again. And I'm just like saying, hey man, like this is where we at. We at with it. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got no problem with anybody. If you disagree with what I said and presented, that's cool. But yeah, I just put that out there for y'all to think. So, you know, we'll stop sharing it and just provide that. So yeah, I'm glad I did the system thing. It actually helped me come through to my senses and say, hey man, this is one of those things, and that's just how it is. Yeah. Let's see what he's talking about. Mm-hmm. And that's how it is. And that's the whole point of me doing these. So yeah, the systems is coming, and that's just that's just what it is. So many, I'm just like, yeah. Yeah, but you know, libertarianism was discussed, and I think that's the whole point of it. And I'm like, yeah, this is gonna be one of those series, and I'm like, okay. And I'm like, okay, this is gonna be good in a premiere and things like that. And that's how I'm going to be in so many words. But yeah, me talking about it is like it's a great plus, and it goes back to what I said earlier. But you know what I mean? And I'm not really tripping on people's ideologies and things like that in that nature. So yeah. And that's just how it is. And we're just gonna look at it for what. And that's how I was gonna look at it. But yeah, my thoughts of libertarianism, man, they just what they are, man. They pretend this all the time. And I think people like Ron Paul and things like that nature. So what you get is and which is it is what you get. So I got the gist of what's going on, why people love libertarianism so much. I mean, it's a loose term, it's vague and all that other stuff. And I'm like, yeah, they covered a lot of things, but you know what I'm saying? I'm not worried about anything. I'm not gonna just be stopped because certain individuals have their own little methods and things like that nature. So yeah, and that means you can have your societies and things like that. So I'm gonna see what's going on. So and that's just what it is. Oh dang, he got a whole house. Okay, yeah, he structured that shit like it was a trapeze. I know. Yeah, wacky ain't going. My shit is not like lit like that, but that's okay. It's one of those nights because when I have a discussion tomorrow, I usually go hold the audience like that, but that's okay. I'm not tripping off of it. But they'll come through because I ain't worried. As long as I stay up, I'm good. Yeah, it happens because everybody's on Wednesday, and I know that's just part of a ploy. You know what I'm saying? Like it's gonna go up no matter what. So I don't mind the replay value. But yeah, libertarianism is a tricky topic. It's one of those topics that you gotta just look at it for what it is. But tomorrow we'll discuss Thursday thrills and things like that, and Sunday madness. Independent thinker, we're gonna talk about it. It's on. I think it's gonna be on the 6th. I'll schedule a few streams there and there. This one may be light. If no one comes up and participate, I can just kill it anytime. Some people kill it in an hour. I said, nah, I'm not gonna do that because I got a lot to talk about. I'm one of those people. You gotta have what you gotta have. But yeah, I can do it by myself. So I guess I'm gonna be a one-man streamer right now. Well, if you ask me about egalitarianism, based off what I've noticed, it means equal, like equal rights and things like that. So, you know, and that's just part of it. Hold on. And that's just usually the way it is. But that's egalitarianism. So I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it together next week. So next week, I may sound different. I don't know because I got new stuff coming in. So don't pay me no mind, okay? Because I'm not really focused on a lot of shit. I'm getting frustrated right now because I'm just trying to get this thing out of the way. Egalitarianism. I don't want to get frustrated, but I'm trying to address the background issues. But don't y'all forgive me. It's been a terrible night for me, so I gotta get used to it. over time. So my thoughts on it. Oh damn. Say can't be reached. Shit. That's the problem. Okay. Let's see. I'm gonna be chill today. But yeah. Let's see right here. Egalitarianism is a philosophical perspective that emphasizes equality. Yeah, I mentioned that earlier, and equal treatment across gender, religion, economic status, political beliefs. Egalitarianism may focus on income inequality distribution, which are ideas that influence the development of various economic political systems. Egalitarianism also looks at how individuals are treated under the law. Karl Marx used egalitarianism as the starting point in the creation of his Marxist philosophy. And John Locke considered egalitarianism when he proposed that individuals had natural rights. Here's the key takeaways of it. Egalitarianism is a philosophy based on equality, namely that all people are equal and deserve equal treatment in all things. And as an idea, it can look into the terms and implications of individuals in both economic legal capacities and economic egalitarianism, which argues that all should have access to the wealth, which is the base of both Marxism and socialism. Legal egalitarianism says that everyone must follow the same laws with no special legal protections for over another. Many countries, okay, damn, Amber Alert. And in many countries in the world, aspects of egalitarianism woven into the fabric of their societies. But yeah, that's the key takeaways of that. So, and that's just the whole thing. Yeah, I'm going to show you what I'm reading on the definition part. So, yeah, and they try to say understanding egalitarianism, then they talk about immigration and things like that. So, political egalitarianism, moral, and all that. Yeah, it's all in the realms of geo-libertarianism we talked about. The basic terms, if y'all want to get into that. If y'all don't know, the ones is new watching this. But yeah, it is a part of what you would say of a physical way of thinking. So, you know what I'm saying? Like that's just part of that thinking. So I know people's busy and things like that. So I'll knock it out in the next hour. But yeah, I just want to talk about it so much. And I'm just going to expound on the things that I was saying on the geo-libertarian part. And then, the private ownership. And it talks about the agorism and things like that. We're going to get into agorism. Is it a part of geo-libertarian thought? And like I said, the exchange and state is relevant of the anarchy and things like that. So we're going to talk about anarchy next week, along with all the political systems and things like that. But agorism is a part of this as well. So yeah, egalitarianism it focuses on everything, above everything, equality. It's a little bit what Karl Marx used to use, even though it's an idea. But he did use egalitarianism, try to create socialism, things like that. But they were studying the books of John Stuart Mill, a utilitarian guy, and another guy named Jeremy Bentham. That was his ideologies dealing with numbers, and John dealt with the equality utilitarian philosophy. You know what I'm saying? That's the utilitarian concept. You see it in governments, like I said, liberal societies, and this. That's basically what that is in so many terms. You know what I'm saying? Like you see this type of stuff all the time, right? And that's how you got to broadcast your stuff. And then like I felt like was much needed, and it just is what it is. What's going on, degenerate? Salute. And I'm just like, that's one of the things you got to have in societies, and you just got to look for it. And I think when you study this society, you just have the look of it. So egalitarianism is a part of the geo-libertarian side that we talked about early in the stream, and I'm glad I mentioned it in one of my oldest streams in part one. Part one, we was talking about the whole idea of libertarianism. So I'm getting into my bag with this, and I'm just like looking for it for you. So I gave y'all that link. I didn't save it, and I don't need it because egalitarianism, I can look this up anytime, but agorism is one of those terms that you just got to stay with it, and that's just how, and you just have to have it. And then there it is. So agorism is one of those things in Urban Dictionary. It's talking about societies and things like that. And right here we go. Here we go. Agorism is a libertarian social philosophy that advocates creating a society in which all relations between people are voluntary exchanges, like we have it listed, by means of counter economics, and thus engaging with aspects of peaceful revolution is basically telling the state to stay out of your life. Is agorism libertarian or what? Sort of, but it goes like this. Agorism is a left libertarian political philosophy that advocates the goal of bringing about a society which all relations between people are voluntary exchanges by means of counter economics. So would like are there anarchists against the current model of the economy and the state oppression? This sounds like a counter fucking economy kicking the ass to the state. Yeah, but the counter economy includes, and I'll read this part, includes the free market, the black market, and the underground economy. All acts of civil and social disobedience, all acts of forbidden associating sexual, racial, cross-religious, anything else the state at any place or time chooses to prohibit, control, regulate, tax, or tariff. So that's why so many people are pro Bitcoin and other cryptos. And yeah, this is Urban Dictionary. Yeah, this is something they say it like that, and we talk about agorism like that. But it deals, it's a left libertarian thought. You know what I'm saying? Like we just, in case y'all don't know what agorism is, y'all can look it up for yourself. But yeah, that in so many words, that's what you gotta have in society of that side of it. And but it's called geo libertarianism. It's under that. Even it's left libertarianism, but it's also called geo-libertarianism. That's the appropriate term to call it. Now, if you want to talk about right libertarianism, it's called libertarian conservatism. That's right-wing conservatism. Strong capitalism, that's their ideology, beliefs, Christian influence, separation of church and state. And they also believe in right libertarianism. So basically, they're talking about militarism in so many words, right? But what you have in a society like that, you want a militaristic government, and you got to have what you got to have in needs. And so, in so many words, you just got to have it. And I'm just like, and that's how I got to look at it in so many words. I'll read the conversation because something happened. I know he was up in here. He don't know what's going on. Yeah. And that's the whole point. And you got to look at the whole picture. So the left side wants free market capital and economics. The other one deals with the militarism aspect, like the military industrial complex is very conservative. They act like they want small government, but they actually want big government. So you got your piece. and so many answers to it. And that's how you gotta have in so many words. So when you have these things come about, it makes the process even better. You know what I'm saying? Like one thing I could say about the economics of society, a lot of people try to say it's liberal. Yeah, you can have a liberal society. The country's still liberal. If you deal with libertarian philosophy on the left or whatever, if you want egalitarianism, that's what you want. But if you're more of the right, you want militarism. You want the military industrial complex, but it's a big budget. And so built this country, along with a little bit of liberalism and things like that. And yeah, it's in the ideas of it. We're talking about basic politics, what we're talking about. So yeah, we did our thing in the list. So that's what we talked about, and it's complete. It's no need to discuss it. But yeah, this is one of the things I would like to talk about. Libertarianism is one of those ideologies that goes to extremes. It reminds me of what I did a series on in streams. I did a series on nihilism versus utilitarianism. Nihilism is to destroy. Utilitarian means to construct, means to build societies. And utilitarianism has a lot of the left leanings versus the nihilist, right wing, fascist behavior. Now, nihilism can be left and right too, but it's different levels of it. But nihilism is extremely right off the edge, right? And that's what a nihilist is. A nihilist is destructive. You got Gorgios, you got Friedrich Nietzsche, you got Max Stirner and all those guys. A lot of philosophers in the nihilistic way of thinking. Very anarchy type people. They can lean to the left. Sometimes they lean to the right, and they be vicious in different levels. They can be your modern day modern day left people, or leftists, what you want to call them, or your modern day right libertarians that cover up racism and all day long. We mentioned in the stream. So in that thought, we know libertarianism is a feat, and it's one of those societies you can just got to get into. So I'm not really tripping about anything, because this will come through, and I know this is like in the night. So in so many, I appreciate people stopping by and things like that. So yeah, this stream is part 1, part 2, and no one didn't come up, which is great. So whoever's watching this or whoever, it takes time, because I know everybody's busy and doing things on the real. So we're gonna be going on the back end. So I'm not really tripping about it. Yeah, you just gotta have it at some point. And I'm just looking at it like that. And I'm like, yeah, this is gonna be what it is. Some people don't really care and things like that. So yeah, I'm not bouncing on no panels. I'm just doing my thing over here. So, I'm not tripping, because everybody's at one spot at a time. So, you're dealing with knowledge. Yeah. Yeah. Man, this conversation is weak. Anytime you're trying to save, yeah. Anytime you talk about women, they're gonna get tight. So that's what I'm talking about. We got to stay away from shit like that. See, I know they don't want to be saved and all that, and that fake gender warring. I'm just gonna start roasting. I don't give a shit, because I know they don't like my ass. I'm a villain. But yeah. That's all I gotta say on libertarianism. On that thought, we're gonna stick with that ideology, and I know people is moving around and things like that. And shout out to Cerulean with the share and things like that. So yeah, whoever's watching this, I discussed what part 2 was about. I know this ain't as much, and I know this is kind of like, on notice, because tomorrow I will be streaming. I will say about a different topic. I'll talk about things that are what's relative in the news. I'm gonna see what's going on in the political sphere. And I heard about Candace Owens and these clowns again. You know what I'm saying? And I'll discuss what I'm gonna update y'all what I'm gonna do next week. You know what I'm saying? And just in so many words. And I'll come to find out what I need in the process. So yeah, we got time. Oh, we got time. So I think people are just doing their due diligence to stay fit or whatever. So in so many words, we got time. So yeah, I know it's crazy over at my boy Wacky's right now. You talk about these hoes, man. It's irrelevant. I'm not gonna save none of them. But yeah, man, it's been a tricky time. Yeah, I had a live stream earlier. I think it was great. And we talked about a lot of things. But yeah, libertarianism, I just dropped the links for y'all to read and put things on perspective and display. And that's just what it is in so many words. So I'm glad I'm doing this. I'm glad I'm doing this, and I'm glad I'm doing this type of content again, because Wednesday streams is usually closed, and I just keep it in and keep it on the floor and just keep it above board. You know what I'm saying? I'm not even worried about what's happening. And that's what you gotta have in so many words. So when you're dealing with this type of subject, it's very tricky, and a lot of people don't be interested right away. It's an interesting subject, yes, but when you talk about libertarianism all the way, it gets very hectic, and a lot of people just get upset and then get enamored with it, and that's just the whole point of it. And a lot of people get enamored with the wrong things, so, and that's what you got to deal with. So that's what you have. And I'm just saying, like, that's what you're gonna have to have and you deal with. So it's one of those things you just can't get upset with. And it's just one of those things that I look at, like that system itself or culture, since they're a minority party. I mean, we dealt with the party before, but I didn't want to get into it as much. And I'm just like, okay, this is going to be interesting, and I'm glad I did part 1, because part 1 explained what I was been saying. So I played half of that video because I want to see the conversation we had, and I think me and Cerulean talked about it all the time. So we're good, but I'm good on this part, and I know this is going to be light because I know this ain't gonna be long because it's 2 hours and all that. I'm just waiting on the 3-hour mark, whatever. So, I'll see who wants to come up. If they don't, I'm just going to end it, because I just want y'all's feedback, what y'all think about it, because I'm going to talk about different political systems, because I'm not going to go any further in the string, because I did one last weekend, and we had a good discussion, talk about real things and things like that. So yeah, these are usually by myself, one showman and all that stuff. I'm trying to figure out my way on Wednesday. And that's the hard part about Wednesday streams, because Wednesday streams is usually are not good, because normally I'm by myself and I ain't got that much. I might not drop links for a while on this. I'm just going to keep it simple. I won't talk about the ideologies. Now, if y'all want to ask for it, that's cool. I'll drop it. I ain't going to be one of those people like that. I won't start doing that for now on Wednesday streams. I won't make an adjustment. I would say, like, if I have points, I'll start talking, and I'm just gonna keep going. You know what I mean? Because I'm gonna get to a point that nobody's not gonna be around. You know what I'm saying? I understand what my audience watches, things like that. That's why I'm moving around, because I'm gonna talk about most of it tomorrow, and then I might make a list of who's in the top women in these spaces and break down their attributes and what they bring into the table, and their assets in. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of hate on certain people. You know what I'm saying? And you gotta deal with that. Especially when we talk about topics like these, like libertarianism. Like this is one of those topics that blacks don't want to deal with, you know, the racism and things like that. And I'm glad he mentioned the race part. Well, Ron Paul, I remember reason he didn't win because they found those racist papers. I do remember that. And I remember Rand won the Senate based off that as well. And that's why he's not president right now, because they know his libertarian background. That's why he's not winning. You know what I'm saying? They want somebody. The libertarians you see running for election, they're usually from the left. They're geo-libertarians. They profess the left thought all the time. They're not really in that circle like that. You know what I'm saying? They're not really into those contention like that. That's just part of the ploy they're in. You know what I'm saying? And when you have that type of ploy, you're that person. You know what I'm saying? And that's just how you people get down. And then there you are. And I'm not really mad that people look at it that way. So yeah, that's what you get for libertarianism. And you see the government like that. Yeah, what's going on, Tampa? Salute. And yeah, it's just one of those things I can just say, hey, I can deal with a lot. And I was looking at it like that, like, hey, you know, this subject mattered. Because when I talk about conservatism, I can go to the Barry Goldwater anytime and go in depth on conservatism. And I felt like I said enough. Liberalism, same concept, said enough. Did 2 streams on it, right? Not so much on it, but it is what it is. You know, people didn't want to participate in part 2, so I figured that they like part 1. Because those streams are actually good, to be honest with you. Those are streams is actually pretty good. And you have your points, right? And it matters. And certain people just kept it they kept it simple on the political stuff. So when you talk about it, you just get enamored with a lot of stuff with the right and left rhetoric, and there you are. And that's the thing about be careful with siding with the zodiac. It takes a lot of challenge to certain people. Oh, did I mention zodiac? My fault, my fault. I'm start rambling. Start rambling. Yeah, libertarianism is just like I started rambling by accident. My fault. My fault. Where did I say? Oh yeah, 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 yeah. It's like anything else. It's like anything else. Yeah, I started rambling the zodiac. My brain was leaving me. But you know, it's just one of those topics. Like you know, it needs to be discussed. But I'll discuss political systems Wednesday, and you're gonna see this side of me more often, and I'm gonna come through, and that's just basically what it is. So yeah, just give me 1 second, and I'll be right back. Yeah. I don't know what I hit. Oh shit. I'm falling apart today, y'all. Damn. Falling apart today. Yeah. I won't have this problem next week. I won't. I gotta get something out of it. Because next week I'm gonna sound different. I ain't got time for this shit. Put this on a stand, I won't have no problems. Yeah, it gets annoying after a while. But yeah, this is one of the things I will discuss, like the systems next week, and I'll talk about what I said: capitalism, communism, socialism. We're gonna talk about a little bit of the individualism and the philosophy aspect of systems. I think on the tail end, but I might not add that. I might add totalitarianism and the authoritarianism. Yeah. The libertarianism system is different. That's just an ideology. And sometimes it's also a philosophy as well. You know, we're talking about systems. You can have a libertarian government society. Yeah, we can talk about that. It could be both. It's one of those things. And you got to have those knowledge like that. So, yeah, that's the terms I'm going to be sticking with. And I felt like it was discussed in this stream. And I felt like, you know, I just want to come with y'all with that. I mean, I felt like, you know, why have a topic on conservatism and liberalism all the time that we know basic, right? Let's talk about libertarianism. And it's actually a unique concept, but you know, the only drawback is how they gonna deal with racism. You know what I'm saying? That's just the whole crux of it. It has a lot of great things that can be used. I mean, it's very normal. That's a libertarian, right? But if you have that philosophy, it stays with it. You know what I'm saying? You stay with that philosophy for a long time. That's what a libertarian philosophy is. You know, you understand your value in a free marketplace if you're a left libertarian. But if you're on the right, you deal with more militarism, more conservative. You know, libertarian, conservative, right libertarian on the right. You're just a libertarian conservative, kind of like a liberal conservative almost, Democrat. And then you got your conservative liberal that's be on the left. That's the Republican or Republic or nationalist or something like that. It's a republic. That will be considered geo-libertarianism. So people think it's like, you know, right and left have identities of Republican and Democrat, but they don't understand that. You got to actually read the philosophical differences. So, you know what I'm saying? And I know people are going to be enamored with stuff. And that's just what it is. And I know people are not going to come through right away. So I'm good. People's enamored with the BS. So it just proves my point. But, you know, yeah, politics is boring. It's a boring subject. And I know people can't stand it. And that just proves my point. Politics is not the issue. Someone said talking about politics is bad. No, it's not. It's not an issue. They don't know because they don't know what the fuck they talking about. And I agree with me and Warmaster agree. It's the people that's saying it. They don't know what the fuck they talking about. Just want to be saying something. I do the research. These niggas don't do research. So I don't want to hear nothing about no white person debate. They don't know what the fuck they talking about either. Okay? They wouldn't dare hit this damn link. I will destroy them with every point there is. I'm so tired of people saying they think they know more. They don't know shit. They can't even debate Joe Biden straight. Miss me with that bullshit. I'm tired of motherfuckers always trying to tell you what to do, and their content is trash. Fuck out of here. When it comes to real content, what I do, I actually study this shit and actually do this shit. And it's not about no action. You niggas don't know what fucking action is. Y'all a bunch of bitches in real life. Y'all can't even talk about action, right? You niggas don't even know the proper way of practicing these things like libertarianism, liberalism, conservatism. You niggas is soft, man. I'm more moderate than you niggas, and I understand the concept of simple change. Hell, I can change in one day and get rid of the stuff. Most of the stuff is simple. We just refuse to do shit. You know what I'm saying? That's when you're dealing with niggas. They're fucking weak. And they talk about all this other weak shit. But you know, it's just what it is. That they just prove my point 1,000 times more, right? Just don't even get me started. How sorry they are as individuals. Always want to say politics is bad. No, it's not. No, it's not. If you know what you're talking about and study the history, it's that fucking simple. It's just do the research. Don't get emotional. You can debate somebody. There's books on it. Okay? But you niggas don't read. And you niggas can't do research like the fuck I do and want to be a yes man and a nut rider. Y'all ain't gonna be shit. And this is why the dereliction is high, man. They don't want to admit that. See, being right all the time makes you stupid. You got to think about what you're saying. See, I agree with certain political philosophies, but if you study them enough, you have a different understanding. When I was a lot younger, I had to grow out of that shit. But you niggas is soft, man. Seriously. Soft as a motherfucker, man. Soft as a motherfucker. And that just proves my point why the space has been dead, because y'all don't study proper shit. I see these young men get on panels over at BGS not learning a goddamn thing. Just being bitches, man. Like that what I saw last night or this morning, I saw his stream with helping that guy. I mean, they did a great job, right? But the motherfuckers is just soft, man. Like with the political stuff, y'all niggas is dumb. Y'all niggas is dumb. I mean, seriously. When it comes to real shit, it's just like, I study this shit. Yeah, I participate in the voting and all that stuff, but niggas don't want to learn. I mean, I've been doing this shit for almost like decades and study this shit. It's not that hard, man. It's not that hard. People just don't want to do the work. And I understand young men struggle doing things online. I know people don't want to do content or the work. But you got to understand something. Most people, it's just what it is. So I'm saying, and I'm not even tripping off this. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just gonna keep it 1,000 with you. But when I did this stream, man, like, I understand the concept of the uniqueness of what these societies are gonna do. So I knew this was gonna be what it is. People are gonna have their own viewpoints and things like that. And I said, I'm glad I did a stream called Libertarianism. I hope y'all see it. And like, people say this can't be done. This is my final of the ideologies of this. I'm not going to do this no more, because I always do this as exercises. And I did this in 2 parts. And I said what I was going to do on this content. I'm glad if y'all enjoyed some of the information that I brought out, the conversations. Watch this shit, man. Take something and learn something. You know what I'm saying? And have a different perspective. And we'll talk about it. Because I'm not going to talk about it with people that don't want to do the research. I'm not going to argue with people just acting like bitches all day on panels. I'm sorry. I don't do that shit. I do the research. I pull the shit up. If you don't want to debate that way, get the fuck out of my face. I'm not going to debate worthless idiots on here. And that goes for black and white. I don't care who you are. You ain't shit on this shit. I study history, bruh. I do this shit. Just because you went to college, you ain't smart than me, bruh. You still dumb. It's more than shit they teach you in that colleges. Those colleges ain't shit. Trust me. I met a lot of dumb motherfuckers that went to those universities. Trust me. And they ain't amount to shit when they get out of those damn schools. Stop it. I didn't go no 4-year school. I body motherfuckers that's 4 years of school. That's decades ago, bruh. Been doing this shit. You niggas ain't built to this level. Trust me. I've seen a lot. destroyed a lot of motherfuckers in the barbershop. And I've been doing this for a long fucking time. And the one thing I hate about in these spaces, in these black sectors, they don't want to learn shit, how to build their own mind. I mean, learning this is easy, but actually doing it and actually living it, you practice what you preach. I mean, I don't get mad about no ideologies and systems, but you know, I'll talk about it Wednesday. But you niggas ain't gonna do nothing. I just know people. Black folks will do something, but niggas ain't gonna do shit. Period. There's a difference. I'm gonna talk about that probably tomorrow, and expound on this small little rant. Because all they do is talk about the little shit that they do, man. And it's fucking distracting. I'm gonna have to talk about that Thursday night. And that's just the thing, man. Like, you know, niggas gonna be niggas regardless. I know people don't really care. And that's just what it is. And I understand that live streams is, you know, in other areas. But yeah, it's a boring topic. Nobody likes talking about politics. And the reason they don't know shit. That's all I'm gonna say. The ones that don't like talking about, they don't know shit. They act like they do, but they don't know shit. They don't study the shit. It's not about ideology because y'all don't know shit. Y'all surface level. I can't talk to y'all about it because y'all don't know shit. What's the fucking point then? If you not want to talk about politics and you talking about it in your fucking circles, it's an oxymoron. I'm gonna have to start roasting niggas for real, man. Miss me with that bullshit. I hate motherfuckers that don't want to talk about nothing, but then they put it in a fucking everyday lives. Get the fuck out of here. Miss me with that bullshit. I hate motherfuckers that's trying to tell you about shit and ain't gonna do shit. That's that hoe shit. That's the fuck I hate about this goddamn space. You act like bitches. That's what the fuck I hate about this goddamn black circle sectors of YouTube. This whole shit. I'm gonna talk about it Thursday because y'all niggas is cowards, man. When it comes to the political stuff, I'm gonna say it bluntly, and I'm gonna say it abruptly. You niggas don't know shit. What the fuck you talking about? Quit using, oh, the white man knows more than you. Get the fuck out of here. He's a bigger derelict than you. Go say that to Joe Biden, motherfuckers. But y'all kill me co-signing weak ass Jordan Pierce. Fuck him. Fuck mainstream manosphere. Period. Fuck them. Because you niggas is soft. There's a difference between a black man and a nigga. A black man knows his shit and takes his risks to save your weak ass, but you niggas is cowards. This is why young Dolph gets killed every day. This is why you got racist libertarians whooping your ass in chess matches and getting governments done. They're going to do this in 2024. They're going to rule this shit. I don't even like these motherfuckers, but at least they got their shit right. Okay, Democrats is finished. Republicans are finished because they number bitch ass liberals. Democrats are punk ass. They're going back to their old conservative ways. Look at Joe Biden. Great example. No motherfuckers ever challenge him on his shit. I'm talking about really challenge him actually doing shit. Whoever votes for him, that's cool, but challenge him on his shit. That's what it's about. It's about discussions and enamoring your minds, man. Motherfuckers can't do shit around here. See, they kill me trying to say, oh, I don't want to talk about politics, but you niggas is cowards, man. And this is why I agree with Jay Sean on that. Yeah, they cowards. This whole space is a bunch of cowards, man. They're not black, man. They're niggas. There's a difference. Because niggas want to be cowards so goddamn much. So fucking much. And then you wonder why y'all deserve to get guillotined. And it don't have to be honorable. Y'all just ain't shit. I've been saying this. I've been saying this probably in the chat room last year and prior this year. Y'all bitches, man. I'm gonna start roasting y'all asses in some of these open discussions of what I've been hearing. It's a lot of hoe shit. That's what I'm tired of. Now, the gender war is, to me, is dead. It's been dead. Okay. That shit's been gone since the SWP days. It's a rehash bullshit that y'all been doing. That's a distraction. That's what's setting us back. But if you want to talk about real politics shit, you actually got to put it in practice and study this shit long term, like I fucking did. I did this shit for decades and still got it right. The problem is you got to look at it from its integral perspective. But you got niggas act like cowards on here, man. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about it. I'm gonna talk about it Thursday. I'm gonna start roasting certain niggas, man. I'm tired of that bullshit. I'm tired of that bullshit. Miss me with that bullshit. That's what I'm mad about, inside, because I'm so sick and tired of y'all praising these bitch ass, cocksucking, blood skinned ass bitches that have no melanin ass motherfuckers like them hoes over there, like Jordan Peterson and these bitch ass men. I mean, males. Fuck them. They're not the standard of YouTube. They're not the standard of politics. They're bitches. Go challenge somebody real. No matter what color he is. If he's smarter, you challenge him on this shit. He ain't always right. Nobody is. I get challenged every damn day off this shit. And I've done it before, and I destroy motherfuckers without the fuck I'm saying. Without even showing you information. Niggas don't want to hear that shit. Because they don't know shit. Like I said, you can't teach stupid niggas shit because they're a bunch of derelicts, right? But you also have black people who want to know the shit, like the young ones. That's what we're teaching. I'm sick of that shit, man. Like, that's the problem. I have no problem talking about politics and knowing what the fuck I'm talking about. When you talk about relationships and stupid, integral, small political shits, it becomes a problem in this sector when we don't go in depth. My issue with it is you niggas don't practice what you preach. And this is why you got idiots like a Jordan Peterson, like a Alex Jones, like these other motherfuckers think they know everything, which they don't. You don't challenge shit. Because you niggas are soft, man. I'm starting to think less of y'all. Always have. I've been on that time since 2012. I didn't trust no nigga when they stabbed us in the back. When we had a group that had some political outcome, but they didn't want to talk about that. Because they don't know what they talking about. They don't study. They're too busy worrying about doing dumb shit. And I'm not mad. I just stopped caring. You know what I mean? And it's going to get to that point that I'm going to start destroying shit, man. It's easy to roast y'all on panels all day. Because y'all ain't got nothing. I can roast you on a vlog stream until go fuck yourself. I can say that. Because you niggas ain't about shit. Nobody fucks with y'all's content like that. You get flame roasted over here. Ain't nobody gonna watch your bullshit. I'm just saying, like, I'm so sick of that shit. It's okay to talk about politics. Know what the fuck you talking about. Stop praising bitch ass men on the other side. Fuck them. They don't speak for us. That's why racism exists on this goddamn site. And that's why the site is damn near dying on its last leg and no one gives a fuck about it. That's why you niggas is cowards, man. I lost respect for y'all since last year and this year. I'm on some bigger fish to fry. You niggas is a bunch of bitches, man. Seriously. The ones that's against this shit. I'm so tired of hoe ass niggas that think they know everything, but they don't know shit. That's I have a problem with. That's my fucking problem. Bitch ass niggas, man. I swear, man. They don't want to talk about politics, but they want to talk about these symptoms, the lack of political. Thank you. Just right there. Political involvement. That gets on my goddamn nerves. That's one of my biggest pet peeves about this goddamn spear. This is why we need to kill all niggas. I'm okay with that. I'm scorched earth all day because you niggas don't know shit. This is why I don't really talk to y'all about politics because y'all don't know shit. This ain't got nothing to do with race. Miss me with that. Because you niggas so goddamn dumb and you let them play the trick bag. They're not as bright as you think. Stop giving them praises that don't need it. That's why one thing I can say about No Light or Pedo Light is because one thing I like what he said. Stop giving them praises like that. And I agree with him on that shit. See, I don't like the motherfucker, but at least he was honest about that part. That part. He was saying, stop giving them praises. Stop giving them praises. Because you got niggas always want to cry about shit. And I'm glad I'm talking about this during this libertarian stream. It's a small little rant. But niggas get on my nerves trying to cry about shit and don't want to be involved, talk about political involvement, but don't want to talk about the actual ideologies that where it comes from. That's how you study political involvement, goddammit. Why you think I do the links and the streams and all this shit? I do 2 parts of these. I can do a part 3s on these sheets and destroy y'all. Like, y'all don't know me like that. I debate motherfuckers that was in politics, didn't know what the fuck they talking about when I was a barista. I knew my shit. I read shit. I study shit. I study the news and articles and shit. You don't have to go to school for learning shit. It's in the goddamn library. They just trick you with the words. You stay calm, they'll mess with you in real life and work with you. But you niggas is soft, man. This is why I lose respect for niggas online talking all this big willy shit. Ain't about shit. Y'all deserve to be executed online. I'm just telling the truth. It's certain niggas that I just don't like that talk about that shit, man. It's so fucking annoying and it kills me. And it goes on both sides, but you niggas ain't shit. This is why the other side of the race is laughing at your bitch ass. They're beatable. I mean, I've proven that since my content. But you niggas is soft, man. What's going on, Absalom? Salute. But yeah, you niggas is soft on the political issue. Like, I love talking about politics. I don't give a fuck who hears it. Fuck them. It's my channel. I do what the fuck I want to do. I'm on that type of time, man. Like, I'm not stopped talking about it. That's my channel's based off on a little bit. I talk about real shit. I talk about the esoteric shit, but you niggas don't want to listen. No, y'all don't want the work. Y'all just want to nut ride on someone else. That's why I ain't trying to be the leader of this shit. That's why I support Rashawn's concept. Yeah, you gotta be a villain to these niggas half the time. Sometimes you give them gems and give them less knowledge. I'm starting to doing that more often because I feel like I'm not wasting my time. I'm just gonna give it to people that's gonna listen. But you got a lot of niggas thinking they know everything, but they don't know shit. They'll get killed in the debate. Trust me. And that's why debates are so goddamn trash. It don't mean anything. The opponents is trash. That goes for every motherfucker on YouTube. Y'all are garbage when it comes to debates. Seriously. I'm tired of the bullshit, man. You got some bitch ass niggas, man. That's one thing I hate about this space. I had to get this little small rant off because niggas is soft on this issue right here. You want to talk about political involvement, but don't want to talk about the actual system that's ran by. Stop it, bruh. Stop it. Operation Earnest Voice. That's a great fucking informational read. The prison system, right? Then you got what you call it, the 1964 election. Barry Goldwater. Because a lot of niggas don't know shit about conservatism. Because y'all not really practice proper conservatism. Y'all just go by what the narrative is. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's one thing I hate. It's the bullshit that y'all spew. And you listen to idiots like Bernard Riley and them, Bernie Povich. These fuck niggas that y'all listen to. that has bigger following than us. Fuck them. And the other side of the so-called white manosphere. I call mainstream manosphere because they're bitches. They will never challenge guys like Joe Biden. They will never challenge guys like Trump. They will never challenge anybody's talking points because they've proven my point. They don't know y'all. You want to be on TV? Put yourself out there and learn something and be something. Bring your facts. That's what the fuck they're going to say. It ain't about having a nice microphone and camera. It's what you bring, what your message is. Because people going to look down on you. Trust me. I've seen this all the time, bro. Like, y'all can't tell me how people think. People in the world don't give a fuck about y'all. That's why I talked bad about that incelian behavior last week and this past Sunday. That's one of the issues I hate about this space because it needs to be eradicated because you niggas don't know shit. You want to fix your shit, fix it the right way, goddammit. Y'all are soft, man. Trust me. Black men back in the day and the ones that did the work back in the day did something. But you niggas is soft, man. I lost all respect for you, the ones that don't want to talk about it, but always want to talk about political involvement. And that was on my mind, too. I'm glad I'm doing this stream. But you niggas are soft, man. I'm tired of it. I mean, that's one of my biggest pet peeves of all time. Because you got a lot of bitch ass niggas I cannot stand, man. Like that goes for anybody that co-signed that motherfucker, man. Ain't got nothing else to talk about. I mean, I'm done talking about if they're winning or not. You know, who cares? Shout out to DS1 saying that. Who cares? Who gives a fuck? I won't say it like this. Who gives a fuck? You should be focused on real shit in 2024. That's the main focus. I ain't worried about this year or next year. I'm focused on 2024. The future of this shit. That's what I care about. Yeah, Biden won. And there's a reason why he won. He's won because it's just the same as the Obama shit, and I'm not even tripping off of that shit. But when you got guys like Trump, he's a bad disaster. I wouldn't pick him. He was a obvious choice of a lesser evil. A lot of people don't like the lesser. He is a lesser evil. He just have a different way of looking at things. But when you got guys like I mean, bitches like, what's her name? Hillary. She's a bad asset. But you people that, man, like when I came in these spaces back in 2020 when the pandemic hit, y'all niggas didn't know shit. Thank God I learned something about B. Justice channel. I don't agree with everything he says. He's got good concepts, but I just fall back and listen to his other shit about the politics, and we kept it up to speed. I got so blindsided by that last year, and that's why I didn't do this type of content, because there was a lot I want to say about you niggas on this political shit. I just hold back and held this in. I could have said this yesterday. But you niggas is soft on these issues. I'm just telling you, like 1,000. You niggas is soft on these issues. Ain't no y'all. No, you niggas don't know shit. I know for a fact y'all don't know shit. Y'all can't fuck with me on no debates. Period. Y'all some cowards. And fuck y'all offers. I'm just telling you, I'm just keeping 1,000. Y'all niggas don't know shit. You don't know shit. I'm not gonna waste no inkling on no insignificant bitches like y'all. Y'all don't deserve my respect on that. Fuck out of here. Come correct or get lost. It's guillotine season over here, motherfucker. And I said it last 2 months and this month. I'm not playing with y'all. You soft. And this is a small rant for niggas that disagree with me. Fuck you. You know what I mean? I won't talk about my political shit. That is not a problem. It's in podcasting. You niggas don't want, y'all talk around the issue, but y'all don't know shit. Stay in your fucking lane. Don't come in my lane. We'll knock your head loose over here, nigga. But you niggas is bitches, man. I swear, like, this is why I say fuck all of it. And I'm glad I support the villain sphere, because what we're trying to do is we'll drop a little gems there and there. But we're trying to help certain things in the youth, just give them knowledge and then fade away. I like the contrarian aspect. It works. That's what makes the content grow. Okay? And I figured that out what I am. I like this lane. See, you don't want to be in a lane with a bunch of bitch ass niggas that don't know what they talking about when it comes to politics. I'm sorry. And actually study this shit, motherfucker, like I just did tonight. Man, I'm just not gonna waste my time on niggas that don't know shit. I mean, let's just keep it 1,000. That's just my small little rant, but you know, I'll talk about it more tomorrow because y'all niggas is soft as shit. I'm just keeping it 1,000. I'm just keeping it 1,000 because you niggas, y'all hilarious when it comes to this shit. Shouts out to everybody. Shar, Kali, DeAndre, All Hell Gray Skull, Oni the Ghost, the Captain himself on the Villain Sphere. I am listening simply. Mike, D Scott, Brothers Love, Degenerate, Absalon. Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm about to sign off because yeah, it's been real. It's a little small rant, but you niggas are soft, man. Like, I am so tired of people not talking about what they want to talk about. But that whole shit, man, I am so tired of it. I want to start roasting you niggas for saying shit like that. Seriously. Seriously. Y'all some bitches, man. For real. And I'm out. Peace.